everybody. Welcome to the world's greatest Bronze Age comic book podcast, Flea Market Fantasy. I'm your co-host, Mike Carlin, as always, I'm joined by
Michael Dell of the LCS Hockey Radio Show.
Woo! And we got a very special guest this week, don't we?
Well, he's not that special. It's Bob Myers. It's our old buddy Bob Myers.
Oh, well, I'm a little hurt. I thought I was very special.
Now, Bob, you've been on a lot, but I don't think you've been on since, I think Christmas was the last time you were on. I seem to recall you doing one of them Christmas books with us. Yeah,
I think I was doing a fun book, and then you guys roped me into a terrible book, and then I just boycotted for months.
Yeah, because you know that character there, that Kevin Jank, he's always eating up all the shows. You know, he comes on, he does months at a time. That Kevin Jank.
He's got a bit of a, celebrity complex.
Yeah, but it's nice to have you back, Bob.
So wait, just for the record, the last time you were on was the Best of DC number 22.
All right.
But that was Christmas, right?
It was Christmas something Christmas, or other.
Yeah. Yes, it was a Christmas story. And then before that, it was Alf.
Yeah.
All right, but anyway, Bob, thanks for coming back on. Now, unlike Mike L., when I invite someone on the show, I let them choose the book. You know, Mike L. always makes them do Batman or Superman. I allowed you to, I said, hey, Bob, what would you like to do? And you had one great suggestion, and what did you want to do there, Bob?
I chose one of my least favorite comic book characters, The Thing.
Why?
Perfect.
Yeah, today we'll be doing The Thing, issue 28 from 1985. This is when The Thing had his own series. It spanned from 1983 to 1986, last 36 issues. And this was a weird time in the history of The Thing because this is right after Secret Wars 2. So from issues like Thing 12 through issue 22, he's actually still on Battleworld. After the,
Really?
So he was still having adventures on Battleworld as Ben Grimm / The Thing because he could change back and forth.
Okay,
so that's weird, right? Yeah. But, Bob, you say you don't even like The Thing, so why did you want to choose The Thing?
Because without getting into too much spoiler here, The Thing is going to join a pro wressling federation, and that sounded very exciting.
Yes, that's exactly right.
I just got quite a look from my girlfriend for that.
Oh, wow, look at you. Entertaining the ladies as you do a podcast. But yes, The Thing joins... what's the name of this wrestling federation here?
The Unlimited
Class Wrestling Federation.
Yes.
The UCWF. Just rolls off the tongue.
Rolls off the tongue, yep.
Now, Bob, have you always been aware that The Thing was a professional wrestler, or is this something you recently learned?
I think I learned it somewhat recently. I learned it on this show. I don't remember where else I would have heard it from. But yeah.
Because Michael, I think we've touched on this topic briefly when you picked that Fantastic Four issue with Ms. Marvel in it.
Yes.
Because Sharon Ventura, that Ms. Marvel, she was one of these, she was involved with The Thing, and I think she would later become part of this wrestling federation as well.
Yes, yes she did, absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, that's when we did talk about it.
Yeah, because I was looking for, a cool WCW, NWA type book to read, but none of those came out in the 80s, so
yeah,
this is the fallback.
Although the artist here is Ron Wilson, and he drew 33 of the first 33 of the 36 Thing issues. He also drew the WCW comic book in the 1990s.
Wow. So, I'm assuming he put this on his resume then to get that job, right?
Well, he was a big wrestling fan, and he really enjoyed doing the WCW book, if I recall correctly.
Interesting, okay.
So, yeah. But yeah, professional... Mike L., have you ever encountered professional wrestling in another comic book that you can remember?
That's a good question.
I know Howard the Duck had an issue with he was wrestling somebody.
I mean, technically Spider-Man in his first appearance wrestled Crusher Hogan.
That's right. Or Macho Man was Bonesaw, right?
Bonesaw McGraw, yep.
Yeah, Bonesaw McGraw. All right, so Bob, you are a big wrestling fan, correct?
Up and down, but yeah, I certainly 80s and 90s pro wrestling.
Yeah, this came out in 85, so this is kind of right at the peak of Hulkamania, right when WrestleMania 1, I think. Wasn't that 85?
That was 85, yep.
Yeah, so, man, here we go, right at the peak of rock and wrestling.
Yeah.
Cyndi Lauper and Mr. T and Paul Orndorff and Roddy Piper.
Roddy
Great
Piper,
era.
yeah.
So and none of that great stuff is in this book.
No. We do have some great stuff in this book, though. Mike L., you've never read any of the Thing series before?
Oh, actually, yeah, I've read a couple issues because I believe Spider-Man made some guest appearances, so they would have appeared on our Spider-Cast.
Now, I hear tell that John Byrne started the series. He was the writer at first.
I actually thought he wrote every issue. I was surprised that this was Mike Carlin.
Yeah, this is Mike Carlin. He came on and he did like maybe 18 of the issues towards the end there. And, yeah, like you said, Ron Wilson did a bunch. When did we encounter Mike Carlin? Because I know we've done him before. I didn't do any research on these fellas because we've talked about Ron Wilson many times on the show.
Darn, let me just check my database here. And
I know he wrote some Dazzler, some Peter Porker.
Look, he wrote Masters of the Universe #3 from Star Comics. Look at that. Wow.
The more I try to get away from Masters of the Universe, it keeps coming back.
Yep.
Good Lord. Yeah. Yeah, that's Mike Carlin. And what else did I think he may have done some Star Trek stuff for DC as well?
Yes, he did. Yep.
Yeah.
And he also famously was the editor for Superman at age 28, and he's the one that spearheaded the whole Death of Superman era. Which that whole era, I personally thought it was really mediocre. And I like to bring this up every time his name is mentioned. He also blocked Grant Morrison and Mark Waid from ever writing Superman, ever.
Well, that's pretty
harsh.
Why did he do that?
He's an asshole.
So I also take it he blocked you on Facebook?
Oh, no, I blocked him. Anyway.
All right. Bob, do you have a favorite old school wrestler?
Ooh, that's tough. Weirdly enough, when I was a little kid, because I would have been about 5 or 6 at the time, I loved Leapin' Lanny Poffo / The Genius.
Oh, yeah, he was great. Leaping Lanny, yeah.
Which is not, who should have been the favorite, but as a kid, I loved him. Jake the Snake Roberts, as I got older, is definitely one of my favorites from that era.
And, of course, Leaping Lanny's Macho Man's younger brother.
Yes. Completely different, eh?
Yeah. Lanny Poffo. But, Jake was something back then. Mike L., did you have a favorite then?
Funny enough, my favorite from that era was the Honky Tonk Man.
Oh, yeah. The Honky Tonk Man. He's the tops. Yeah, he was great.
I liked, all those guys, Macho Man, Hulk Hogan, that whole group. I love them all.
Yeah. So, all right. Bob, you also mentioned the thing was your least favorite of the Fantastic Four. Do you have a ranking on the Fantastic Four? I mean,
not of the Fantastic Four, honestly, of I don't know how to put this, major comic book characters.
Why do you hate that?
Might be my least favorite.
I've never heard anyone say they hate that. How can you hate the Thing? He's a nice fella.
It's not that I hate the Thing. It's just I just dislike the character.
What about him?
Just the gruff, tough guy with the heart of gold. It's just, I don't know, it's real cliche. And just something about the way he talks. I'm just every time he shows up, I'm I just don't want the Thing around.
Man.
Just never entertains me. I know I'm very out on an island with this opinion. I think I'm probably the only person who doesn't like the Thing, but it's just,
the Thing's great. Mike L., he was basically the comic book version of Jack Kirby, right?
Yeah, I love the Thing. Absolutely.
Yeah. He's all rock and stuff.
Yeah, and he's funny. I mean, I like his personality, especially when he's written by Stan Lee, right? And Jack Kirby.
Yeah, off Clancy Street.
Yeah.
Right?
No, Yancey Street.
Yancey Street. Yeah.
Right.
But, all right, so let's look at this book here, Mike L.
Sure.
The Thing becomes a professional wrestler. So right on. Oh, we should mention a couple other people in this book, though. Michael, you love Vance Astrovic, right?
Oh yes, he's mentioned, but he's not in it, right?
Yeah, he's in it,
Where?
Extensively.
What? Which one's Vance Astro?
He's the young fella following around.
I didn't know that was Vance Astro.
Did you read this comic, Mike?
No, I did read it, but when does he call him Vance?
Yeah, he calls him a couple. He calls him Astrovic or whatever, right?
Really? What the hell?
All right, explain who Vance Astrovic is for the kids, Michael.
So, okay, he has a complicated history, but basically he was introduced in the 30th century, I think.
Sounds about right, yeah.
Yeah, as a member of the Guardians of the Galaxy, and his deal was that he was, I believe, the first man to travel through space, but he was in suspended animation, and when he arrived at his destination, he discovered that mankind had already, like surpassed the technology he used, and so they'd already had like interstellar travel, so it was kind of a waste.
Yeah.
And he ended up being stuck in the like the suit, whatever it's called, the space suit that he was in. His deal was that if he removed the suit, he would age 1,000 years, so he had to keep the suit on, and so he became Vance Astro in the Guardians of the Galaxy. And then in one story, he went back in time, and he met a young boy who I don't know how he learned it, but he figured out that, or someone else figured out that this was the kid. This was Vance Astro as a kid. And that kid ended up growing up to become Marvel Boy in like current day Marvel continuity with almost the same costume. And then later they changed his name to Justice, which was unfortunate. But yeah, Vance Astro. That's Vance Astro.
So yeah, that kid is the guy in this book. The younger version of Vance Astro.
See, I heard him mention Vance Astro, but then I don't remember him ever calling him Vance or Astrovic or anything.
I don't know. Bob and I were able to pick up on it. So
yeah, I don't know. What in tarnation here? Whatever.
Also, we should mention right at the top here, Bob, the Thing is in a motorcycle stunt group called the Thunder Riders. Now, Bob, I think in the late 70s you were also in a motorcycle group, right?
I was, yeah. We didn't have cool matching outfits, though. We were a very ragtag motorcycle stunt group.
Now, do you know the history of the Thunder Riders?
I kind of do. Not a lot.
Oh, wow.
Like,
that is shocking to me. I didn't think
don't
anyone
know
knew.
how, because I've never read any of the books about them. I don't know how it's seeped into my consciousness, I guess.
Yeah,
but I do know somewhat of the Thunder Riders. Like, this is not the first time I've come across the Thunder Riders.
Oh, well, please enlighten us with the history of the Thunder Riders.
I mean, I don't have the history. You'll be able to fill in more. But I do know that they're a group that came together, and there was a Black Rider who was, or something like that, who was their nemesis, and then turns out was the woman that was on their team or something weird. This is what I know of them. You can fill in more. But I know, like, the basic concept of them. And they're based on a toy, right? Or
that's the big thing here. Michael, you never heard of them as a Team America?
Yeah. See, I've heard of Team America, but they're not the same. They're different characters, right?
No, they're the same. See,
what?
I had no idea of any of this until like 10 minutes before the show, and I started researching.
Okay.
Apparently, there was a toy line called Team America, and Marvel, of course, Jim Shooter, he liked them toy tie-ins. So they did a book called Team America that lasted like 12 issues. And it was about this motorcycle group who were actually like mutants. They had mutant abilities, like a little bit. Like they had some sort of a psychic connection to each other, and that made them really effective as a motorcycle stunt group. I don't know. But these toys were supposed to replace, like, I guess, Evel Knievel.
Right. I did read about that, yes.
So they said, we'll do Team America. So Marvel had to come up with this book for him, and they also got shoehorned into some Captain America storylines, I think, back in the day. And but then after that series ended, they popped up here in the Thing, and then that's pretty much it. Like, this issue that I could find was like their last appearance. So,
wow. This is it.
Yeah.
Oh, and I got to point out, as far as, because I just read an article about Evel Knievel, I believe what happened was he was arrested for something, right?
Yeah, like, I think domestic violence.
Right, and then I think they just literally took the Evel Knievel toys and painted them all different colors and pretended they were different people, and that's how they created the team. Yeah. Right, so, anyway.
Yeah, so that's who we're dealing with here when we encounter the Thunder Riders. And, of course, their names are Wolf, R.U. Ready. Are you ready? Wrench, Cowboy, and Georgiana. So
awesome.
Yeah, what a group. All right, I think those are all the big characters we needed to Oh, there's actually one other one, but we'll talk about him later when we get there. But all right, Mike, let's look at the cover thing, issue 28.
Yes, so this cover is interesting. So we've got the Thing logo, which I'm a big fan of, right? We've got the awesome corner box of the Thing running at us. And then we have not even a half face, but like a quarter face of the Thing on the right, looking at the reader, and he's standing in front of a poster for the Unlimited Class Wrestling presents the Ever-Lovin' Thing versus Demolition Dunphy. And then there's a little thing that says tonight. Oh, did we talk about who Demolition Dunphy ends up becoming later on?
Well, that's what I was going to get to later. We mentioned him.
Gotcha.
But,
okay.
Let's check with Bob. Bob, do you know who that Demolition Dunphy that wrestler guy becomes?
No, I have comments on the strength of some of these wrestlers, so it does not surprise me that he is not just a normal man.
Well, he becomes Demolition Man.
The
Do you remember him?
Sylvester Stallone character?
No. He was in a lot of Captain America books. He had a costume that was a combination of Wolverine and Daredevil's yellow costume.
Yeah. Remember Daredevil's original red and yellow?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
it just added Wolverine's mask to it, and that's pretty much it.
Nice.
And he had a giant red D on his chest. And he was just strong and, like, tough, right? That's all he was.
Mm-hmm.
Does he have anything to do with the Wrecking Crew, or is he completely separate from them?
Completely separate.
No, they're like, let's also have a Demolition Man, but not include him
But
in the Wrecking
like
Crew.
at the same time they were doing all that John Walker stuff with Captain America, Demolition Man was around in that time. I think he was pals with Nomad.
Oh my god! Literally, it's Daredevil's yellow costume
Yeah, with Wolverine's.
with Wolverine's mask.
Yeah.
This is
Yep.
awful.
Yeah.
No, I've never heard of this character.
Yeah, so that's who this wrestler that the Thing faces in this issue. He becomes Demolition Man. So that's weird. But yeah, so Mike L, this cover, it has a fight poster of the Thing on a wall, and then, like you mentioned, a little bit of the Thing's face in the foreground, looking at the reader.
Right.
How do you feel about that, Mike L?
Well, here's the thing. I create thumbnails every week for the episodes of the show. This was one of the hardest thumbnails to make because the Thing himself on the poster is like dark gray. So I mean, it's not really a good image. Like, I don't understand. I mean, I guess the idea is it's supposed to be a black and white photo, but why couldn't they just make him orange, right?
Yeah, you think, I guess they're trying to give it that seedy feel, like it's a back alley, and...
Well, okay, if you think about it, though, remove the actual Thing in the foreground and just make the poster the actual Thing fighting D-Man or Demolition Man, and that's the poster. Why not, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. I guess fight posters, they don't usually show you fighting. They show you just standing there. So
Okay.
But, yeah, I don't know. Bob, how do you feel about this?
I think it's fine. I mean, as far as the poster goes, Demolition Dunphy, he's not the draw here. The Thing is the draw. Demolition Dunphy is just the guy he's beating up.
Yeah, he never drew a dime.
Yeah,
Thing's filling
exactly.
those seats, you know? Also, Michael, you mentioned the corner box of the Thing running towards the viewer there, and he's already wearing like a wrestling singlet.
Good
With,
point.
wrestling
Good point.
boots. And he started wearing that many issues ago. Like, he was wearing that on Battle World when I looked
That's
back.
kind of odd.
Really?
Yeah,
He's just prepared.
I guess. So it was destined that he would one day join professional wrestling. Yeah, I don't know. I like the cover. It's a little weird with the face in the foreground, but I like the idea of the fight poster. So
Yeah, I
it's a
like
cool
the idea of it.
yeah.
I think it works.
It's just
All
too
right,
I
dark.
like the splash page way more, which we'll get to in a minute. but-
Exactly.
Yeah, Bob, we turn to the page here and describe what we see. The title of the book is In This Corner. And then
you got the
what's
Thing
the big
in his
image?
sweet Evil Knievel / Team America jumpsuit, riding a motorcycle with sidecars on each side. That is
And the
sweet.
And the sidecars have giant stars on the fronts of them. And, yeah, his Team America outfit, it's red, white, and blue. Kind of Evil Knievel-ish. Yeah, Mike L., what do you think? You turn the page and you see this, you're like, holy hell, I'm in.
Well, I
looks
ended
awesome.
up using... I combined the cover with this image to make the thumbnail because this is so much more striking, you know?
It's definitely striking.
Yes.
Because as soon as you see it, like, what the hell is happening here? The
Right,
Thing
right.
riding a motorcycle in fancy jumpsuits. What the hell? I don't get it.
Yep.
But,
Yep.
So, all right, Michael, take us away into the story.
One little detail I just noticed. Did you notice the credits? How it says Stan Lee Presents and then it lists everybody? You look at Jim Shooter's credit.
6'7".
Yeah. Little gag in there. He's
He's a tall man.
He's really tall, yep.
Oh, so that's his shoot height?
That's his actual height.
6'7"?
Yeah, I've seen him before. He's super tall.
Yeah, I met him when I was a little kid, but he was sitting down. So I didn't realize how big he was.
Yeah, he's really
Wow.
tall.
I had no idea.
Yep.
Look at that. We've all met Jem Shooter. That's exciting.
Really? Oh, you met Jim Shooter, Bob? Where?
The Comic-Con here in Kansas City.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I've
was
got
cool.
something autographed by him. I don't even remember what.
I actually
I,
recorded his little like speech or whatever, but it was from the back of the room, so the audio was terrible. But anyway,
I told this before, but I got a picture that I drew of Wolverine, and he signed it, and he said, "Nice work, Shooter." He signed it.
Nice.
cool.
Yeah, I was 11 years old. It's pretty great. So
I was an old man. This was like 4 years ago.
Right.
all right, so when the book opens, the Thing is on his practice course with his other Thunder Riders, and they're all in their little get-ups. None of them are wearing helmets, though, although one of them is wearing a cowboy hat. That is cowboy.
I'm sure that's protection enough.
Yeah. And they're about to practice a big stunt, Michael.
Right. And the Thing, as usual, is, what's that called when you... I guess he's having angst, right?
Yeah.
He's the Thing is always doubting himself, and as they're practicing, he's kind of thinking to himself, about what's going on in his life. And here it's, what have I gotten myself into? I'm literally supporting a whole team of stunt riders, and all I wanted was to be near some Dame Sharon.
Yeah, that's Sharon Ventura, who, of course, would be Miss Marvel. The reason why Thing joined the Thunder Riders is because Sharon was a part of the team. So he said, I'll join that team so I can be close to Sharon. But then as soon as he signed up, they said, Thing, the reason we're looking for someone new is because Sharon just quit.
Right. That's happened to me so many times.
So he's like, damn, now I'm stuck doing this stupid motorcycle thing.
Yep.
Also, Michael, you know way more about Fantastic Four than me, but when I was reading this, they said after Thing came back from Battleworld, he learned that Reed Richards told him, hey, Thing, by the way, you could just change back and forth between the Thing and Ben Grimm anytime you wanted. You didn't have to stay on Battleworld to do that.
I believe I remember reading that. I think Reed Richards figured out that it was more psychological, and that's why he remained as the Thing.
Because what I read, it made it sound like Reed knew that all along, and he just didn't tell him. Like, I could use a break from Ben Grimm. Stay on Battleworld for a bit, Ben. And I'll,
See, I don't remember that detail. I don't know.
Well, the Fantastic Four doesn't work nearly as well without their big tough. He can't be letting Ben Grimm turn back into a human and just wander off.
Right.
That is true, yeah. And plus, he got She-Hulk on the team, and she was pretty foxy. So, all
yeah,
right, She-Hulk.
I mean, once he replaced her with She-Hulk, he's like, okay, now you can be human. But
yeah. So anyway, the Thing, why did he, when he came back, Michael, do you remember the circumstances? Like, did he try to get back with the Fantastic Four, and they said, hey, your position's filled?
No, I think he came back and stayed away for like a year or two, and then he ended up joining again. I'm not sure exactly how it happened.
Okay. All right.
He ended up living with like the Mole Man for like an issue or something.
That seems like a horrible decision. Why would you go live with the Mole Man?
Who knows, right?
All right. Fast forward like a year and a half, and that's where I'll be too, by the way. With the Mole Man.
So anyway, they're doing the stunt. It's basically like everyone is that that's a woman? I didn't realize.
Yeah, the lady on top.
Yeah,
I think that's Georgiana.
So she's standing on two of the shoulders of two of the guys, and they're kneeling on the Thing's shoulder as well as the shoulders of these two other guys. What I liked about this, Mike, is the Thing's riding this motorcycle with the two sidecars, on either side, hence the name sidecars. And these other Thunder Riders, they're just riding their motorcycles next to them, and they leap off their motorcycles onto the other motorcycle. So they just let their bikes crash. Willy-nilly. It's like, I don't need that fucking bike anymore. Bang. Right.
It's not how you take care of your equipment, if you're a stunt rider.
Right. And it's also funny because the Thing catches himself as he's thinking. He's like, holy Hannah, while I was daydreaming away, I could have blown this whole rehearsal to smithereens. And then, of course, we get Thunder Riders disperse.
Yeah, and then I popped when I read that. It's a flea market fantasy reference.
Yep. Everyone jumps off, and then, okay, I admit it.
Yeah, right there,
Vance Astro walks up, and they do call him Vance. I just didn't notice that, okay? So, yes, this is Vance Astro. You're correct.
Yeah.
So, they chat it up, and they're like, okay, we're going to go hit the showers. And then Vance Astro's talking to Ben Grimm, and he kind of lets in that he's like, he's already having doubts, right? He's, I just can't concentrate. And that kind of problem can only lead to disaster, kid.
And look at that thing in that panel, Michael. That's a Jack Kirby thing, right? That looks like a Jack Kirby.
That face? Yeah, I would say. Absolutely. Yep, it's a good face. Like he makes him look ugly. He doesn't make him look pretty, right?
Correct.
Right. So Vance Astro is convincing him, to stay with the Thunder Riders, and the Thing has his doubts.
By the way, Michael, I forgot to mention that when they were doing that pose, the big stunt trick, there's a big splash page of them standing like that. Do you see that dialogue bubble there? Top right.
Okay.
I should clobber that Vance Astrovic.
Oh, yeah.
For talking me into this cockamamie.
Yeah, I know. No, I noticed it. That's why I said they mentioned him, but they never show him. Because I didn't know who the hell he was talking about. I'm like, when's Vince Astro going to show up? I was waiting for the guy in his suit, you know?
Oh, all right, I see.
Yeah. Right. So there you go. You can forgive me. So Vance Astro's trying to convince him to stay with the team, and the thing's like, oh man, I'm a born scrapper. That's all I can do. I'm not a stunt man. So then the thing goes into the locker room, and he's looking at the poster, and he's like having all these doubts. So they've already printed up the poster that he's gonna be in the Thunder Riders, and he's like, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? How am I gonna get out of this without them thinking me a first-rate creep? And then what's this guy? This is Cowboy, right? He walks up.
Yeah.
And of course, he's in his towel, and they're all chatting. And
yeah, because apparently the Thunder Riders, not only do they perform together, they also shower together.
Yes.
That's very,
like any good motorcycle. Bob, did you shower together with your motorcycle team?
I mean, showers were a luxury, so we
okay.
we would take turns with our big metal tub.
Ooh.
That sat in the back of the truck.
Sponge on a stick.
Exactly, rags on sticks.
Right,
nice hobo shower. So anyway, the thing is just about to start explaining to Cowboy, that he's having doubts, but then Cowboy cuts him off, and he's like, "Stop right there, Podner. I think I know what you're trying to tell me. You want to quit the Thunder Riders, don't you?" Right? And then they all walk in their towels.
Yes.
And then basically,
now, do you think the female also showered with them as well? Georgiana?
I hope so.
I think she was. Yeah, that'd be a wild scene.
It doesn't show up in any of the art, but you never know.
Exactly. So then they're like, "No, you know what? We know that you don't want to be a part of the team." And in fact, the one guy says, "Your leaving is not a good thing, Ben. I was just starting to like you, gringo." Right? And then the other guy just tears up the poster. He's like, "Understand? Does this answer your question, Podner?" What kind of accent is that? Is that like a Southern accent?
Podner? Yeah. But they spell it weird. It's like Podner. So it almost looks like Pooner.
I would have spelled it Paw, Podna.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But yeah, so they just rip up the poster and they say, "Hey, don't worry about a thing. We understand. You're a cool guy. Right. No hard feelings." And the thing's about to walk away, and the one guy says, "Hey, what about that motorcycle I built specifically for you, thing?" He's like, "Oh, shit. I'll buy it off you, long as, I can pay you like $10 a month. Is that cool?" So he's like, so Thing buys this motorcycle. But what I wanted to talk about with the Thunder Riders, though, is, Bob, when this happened, when I first read this, I had no concept of the Thunder Riders. So I'm like, oh, they're setting something up here where these stunt guys, they're acting like they're cool with the Thing leaving the group, but actually they're going to come back and get revenge on them. They're probably a bunch of creeps. And this is just setting up a little thread here that they're going to chase down the road. That's not what happens at all. This is just the final appearance of the Thunder Riders.
Ever.
See him again.
Because, like, the way it's drawn, Cowboy looks like he's super angry at him. Like, it's written like, oh, it's okay, we understand, but, like, he looks like he's devious and angry.
Yes.
Right.
Like, it doesn't, when you're reading it, you're not clear what emotion he's supposed to be conveying to you. So, if you didn't know any better, you'd be like, yeah, these guys are definitely going to come back and cause a lot of problems for the Thing.
Nope.
But nope.
Never see him again.
Never to be seen again.
But the Thing does have this real wizard motorcycle out of it. So that's pretty cool. So the Thing and Vance Astrovic, Michael, they go driving along, and they get a room at the Holiday Inn. Now look at that sign for the Holiday Inn. It says, "Hey, Holiday Inn, no vacancy. Visit our Zanzibar and Grill." And then right beneath that, vacancy.
Yeah, you're right.
Mixed messages there from that sign,
Yep.
So, but yeah, so they share a little motel room there, and Vance Astro is sitting on the bottom of the bed there, and he's watching TV. Can you tell what he's watching on TV there, Michael?
No, I can't. What is it?
That's Ed Grimley.
It is.
Yeah, give me a break. Like, if this isn't the saddest thing, I must say. But on the other hand, something decent could come from this. And then if you look real carefully, you can see the haircut with the little spike coming out of the head.
Oh, so played by Martin Short.
Yeah, Ed Grimley, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I like Martin Short, but I've never heard of this character.
You never heard of Ed Grimley?
What?
Nope.
He's a very famous Saturday Night Live character.
Really?
And then he also he had his own animated show for a while, right?
Wow.
I don't remember the animated show, but I believe you. I remember
it was like
Saturday
a morning
Night Live.
cartoon deal on
Wow.
NBC. He had, yeah.
Oh, look at this. It was called The Completely Mental Misadventures of Ed Grimley. You could never use that term nowadays, right?
Mental misadventures.
Wow.
So, but anyway, the Thing doesn't like watching Ed Grimley, so he says, "Hey Vance, why don't you put something good on the TV,
Right.
like pro wrestling?"
Yes. So
And
then
there
they
we go.
see this promoter, what's his name? Ed Garner. He comes on and he's promoting his wrestling, his Unlimited Class Wrestling Foundation. Oh, Foundation. I thought it was Federation.
Yeah.
I guess it's Foundation.
It certainly should be Federation.
Yeah. And then so then he's like, "That's right, I'm talking to the wrestling stars of the future. I'm talking to you." And we see the finger pointing right at the viewer. And then the Thing's like, "Me? Yeah, me." And then Vance Astro's like, "Yeah, Ben, wrestling, it's perfect for you." And so now Vance Astro is convincing him that he should join this league. And then they hop into bed together.
Well, separate beds.
You know, it's funny though, because it's drawn
It's
in a
hard
way.
to tell.
Yeah, it's confusing because it's weird because Ben gets in the other side and it almost looks like there's room for Vance Astro there, right?
Yeah, the way I read this was, okay, they're struggling. He can't afford his motorcycle. They're
Yeah.
sharing a bed at the Holiday Inn.
They're going to make sweet, sweet love in a holiday in bed.
Yeah.
But the other thing I noticed is
completely
the Thing
platonic.
has. I think they say later on in this issue that the Thing weighs 500 pounds.
Yeah.
But that seems like way too light, right, for a guy made out of rocks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess the question is his body solid rock or is it
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
covered in rock? That's
I
what they
always
never-
used to think it was solid rock, but remember we encountered this before on the show, Mike. I remember when Wolverine slashed his face, and like there was you could see beneath it was like just a rock coating, and
Yeah,
underneath
I
there was
think
like
you're
meat
right,
and stuff.
yeah.
So,
The
yeah,
other
see,
co-
I forgot about that.
Yeah. So who knows, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
But
So I was going to say,
anyway.
like, he would just crush that cheap Holiday Inn bed, sitting in that.
True.
I thought it would just collapse. But no, there's enough strength there for Thing and Vance Astrovic to make sweet, sweet love. So,
Right. So anyway, so then we cut over to Las Vegas and we see that a whole bunch of potential wrestlers are lined up to audition for the UCWF.
And by the way, I looked on Marvel Fandom just a second ago, and they do have it as Federation, not Foundation.
That's weird. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. I always thought it was Federation.
So I'd like
So-
to point out that there are 6 gold belts in this room.
Yeah, a lot
I
of
noticed that
champions.
too. Yeah, that's
They
kind of
just
weird.
bring in all the champions from all the different from
All the regional
different,
titles.
all the
Yeah, they
regional
all come-
titles. Yeah. Everybody's here. They got them all.
So the Thing is like, "Oh, thanks for the opportunity for letting me, audition." And then Ed Garner is like, "Oh, cool." And then he whispers over who is it? No, is it Vance? Who's he whispering to?
No, that's his stooge. His
His
right
stooge.
hand
He's like, "I'd like to wish you the best of luck in the test. See you later." And then he's like, "The UCWF's going to get that guy and keep him. He's worth a mint to us." Right? So then we cut to the next scene, and it's this huge auditorium filled with all these people watching, and we have these. It's basically like gigantic, like what do you call that? Like weights, like not dumbbell weights, but they look like dumbbell weights.
Plates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so and we got 3 of them suspended on this kind of like thing. I don't know what you'd call it, but they're like suspended in the air on this. No, I shouldn't use the word thing, but you know what I mean, contraption. And so, Ed Garner announces to the crowd what's going on, and then we see. And so then we start.
And
with
by the way, the crowd they're all hopefuls. They all want to join the UCWF.
Okay. They all are okay.
Yeah.
So then the first guy who
Except
goes
for the
up,
one guy who's like, he tells him, "Hey, if you don't think you're cut out for this, leave." And so one guy stands up and walks away.
right?
Yeah.
One guy's like, "Yeah, I can't do this. I don't know why I'm here. I'm not even going to do the first test."
And the crowd's like murmuring, like, "Hey, look at that guy! Yeah, you big pansy,
Right.
home to mommy." And then
Yeah.
the Thing's like, "Hey, he's probably the smartest guy here.
Right.
Maybe I should go too." But,
So then the first guy that goes up is named. What is his name?
I don't even know if they. Oh yeah, they do say it.
Cootie Wise.
Cootie.
What a weird name, Cootie Wise. So he lifts up the 3 plates. The first three plates.
Yeah, like the guys get beneath the plates and like lift them off of a stand above their head, pressing them
almost like a military press. So I'd like to point out here. Yeah. This is where my problem came in.
Well, yeah, all right, I can explain it, but go ahead, Bob. Yeah.
Because the first test to join this federation is they must be able to press 1 ton over their head.
That's right.
Now, in theory, these are pro wrestlers from all the different regional territories. I looked it up just out of curiosity. The world record is less than 1/4 of a ton for a press.
Yeah.
And multiple guys have no problems with this. And as we'll get to later, a couple of these guys, including the Thing, lift like 6 tons.
Yeah. Well,
so I'll let you explain.
In the Marvel Universe handbook and all that, the Thing is usually credited with being strong enough to lift 75 tons, right, Mike?
Okay.
I thought it was 80 or 85, but yeah, whatever, around there.
Well, he may have gotten stronger over the years. But, yeah, so we expect him to do that. But, the fact that a normal human could go up there and press 2,000 pounds, that seems questionable. But here's the thing, Bob. What we don't know yet as readers is these people are all superhuman because they've been getting fed, super steroids from the power broker.
All the people at the tryouts have, or just the people that he's decided to put in his federation?
Yeah,
is this whole thing a scam?
I think it's everyone in there has been augmented, but not all of them are up to the same strength. Like maybe there's some, there are some normal people there because some people couldn't do it. You know, they couldn't lift 50,000 pounds. But the ones that could, those are all the augmented folks. And the power broker is giving them super serum kind of shit.
Okay.
So, we don't learn that, though, for a few issues yet.
No, because it doesn't make any sense right now.
Yeah, I was also like, what the fuck is happening?
If they reveal that later, then I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I've got to tell you, there is a guide to the strength of different Marvel characters written by Mark Grenwald. This is before the Marvel Universe handbook came out. And according to this, just to give you the top 6, it goes Hulk, Thor, Hercules, Wonder Man, Iron Man, and then the Thing.
Wonder Man?
Can you believe it? Yeah.
When did that come out?
This is like 83-ish, 82.
When I was a kid, I've mentioned this on the show before, but I had that role-playing game with the dice for the Marvel, you know?
Okay.
And like Dungeons & Dragons, but with Marvel, basically.
Yeah.
And they had a book where they would rank everyone's stats and everything, and they would say, and I swear the Thing had monstrous strength, which was 75 tons.
Well,
sure, but he's no Wonder Man.
Yeah, and I thought Wonder Man had amazing would have been 50, but man, maybe I'm remembering this incorrectly.
Well, this is 81, and I think that within a couple years they changed it and made the Thing stronger, because I remember the Thing being stronger than Iron Man 2 and Wonder Man.
Yeah. Because I remember the Hulk being the strongest. He was like unearthly strength or something, over 100 tons.
Right.
But I think Colossus and the Thing were similar. But.
Well, in this, Colossus is below Silver Surfer and above Ghost Rider. So I'll send this to you. Yeah. Yeah.
And Mike, we've still never done an issue of the Marvel Handbook or whatever. You know.
Yeah. Well, be careful what you wish for. You know.
Anyway, so the Thing's pressing all these metal plates above his head, and he's like lifting them all, and then there's only one guy left. And it's Demolition Dumpy.
Right. Yeah, well, there was another guy, and then there was the Thing, and then Demolition Dumpy comes in. Right. And he manages to lift just as much as the Thing, all of them. Like, you see, 15 of these things all stacked up or whatever. And Demolition Dumpy manages to do it as well, right?
And we should say Demolition Dumpy has a wicked mohawk.
Right.
He does indeed.
Looks pretty cool. Yeah.
And that's it. So then, what's his name? Ed Garner. And he's like, not so fast. The testing's not complete. I'll need your signatures on these waivers before we can go on to the next step. And they simply say that the UCWF is not legally responsible for your health from here on in. So then, in the next
scene... No waivers for lifting a ton of weight over your head.
Right.
But waivers for this upcoming very dangerous test.
Right. Yeah, so the next test is basically the Thing standing in the middle of a wrestling ring with all... 10 other guys around him, and they all just try to beat the shit out of him. But, bonk, boof, wham, they all punch him, but they're completely ineffective. Crack, pow, whoom, conk, thoom. One guy says he breaks his hand, but the thing is just standing there, completely unaffected, right? But then Demolition Dumphy comes up and punches him right in the stomach, Houdini style, and the thing does wince, right?
Yeah, he feels it.
Right. He's like, oh yeah, so then Ed Gardner says, keep it going, boys, only 3 minutes to go. And the thing is thinking in his head, only, he says, where'd they get all these guys in my league? Gotta keep cool all the same. So that's when Demolition Dumphy punches him. And then down on the ring side, Ed Gardner's like, nice shot, Dumphy, nice. And then, and then he's like, why are you standing here? He looks over at Vince Astor and he's like, I'm the Thing's manager. Yeah, that's it, his manager. So then,
yeah, it's Jimmy Hart. He's going to be the
exactly, right. So then that time's up, so the contest is over. And then the guys, they basically have this shot of all the guys that are remaining. So
there's
then
12 remaining.
Right.
And I want to direct everyone's attention to the fella on the far right.
Of course you would.
He is wee tiny.
Well, clearly the artist just ran out of room. Like, why couldn't he just draw him in the back or something? Yeah, it's kind of weird.
No, any good federation in the 80s would have had a little person. Would have had multiple, but
Right.
But what is terrifying is to even qualify for the federation, that little guy had to press at least 2,000 tons. Or 2,000 pounds.
That's true.
1 ton, 2,000 pounds. But good Lord, man, what a powerful little fella.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, look out for him.
So then Ed Gardner announces the star match that's going to be opening the whole, federation. It's going to be Demolition Dumphy versus the Thing. So then he shoos everyone out of the room and he's like, wait, hang on, Dumphy. I'd like to make a small proposal to you alone. And he basically tells him he wants to pay him to throw the fight. Okay? So this is like a...
Yeah, I was going to say, Bob, do you think that at this point in 1985, Mike Carlin thought professional wrestling was real?
Yeah, I want it to be true. I want him to be like, yeah, I'm gonna write a wrestling thing, and it's gonna be so dirty, this league. The promoter's gonna be paying him to throw fights. It's gonna be great.
I mean, even when you're a little kid, you're watching wrestling, you want to believe, but you know it's not real. I mean, it's not real.
Yeah, I mean, when I was, 5 or 6, I'm sure I believed it real, but by the time if I'd have been reading this comic book, I feel like I would have known.
Yeah, kayfabe was alive and well, man. 85.
It's true. It was working.
Can I tell you guys that when I found out wrestling was fake, it was as traumatic as finding out Santa Claus was fake, okay?
But when did you find that out? 10?
I would have been 27, I think. No, just kidding. I don't know. It would have been I was 10 years old, around there.
I guess, though, Bob, theoretically, I think Vince McMahon didn't come out and say that it was all fake and sports entertainment until the 90s, though, right? 96, 97.
Yeah.
But,
and I guess, as I think back on it, I was 9 years old when the Rockers broke up, and I hated Shawn Michaels for years for it.
Right through the barbershop window.
Exactly. So I guess at 9, I didn't fully understand that it was fake because I hated Shawn Michaels. How dare he break up the Rockers?
I mean, I was way into it when I was 8, 9, and 10 and stuff, but I still realized that you couldn't really punch someone that many times without actually hurting them.
Yeah, I think I maybe knew that some of the fighting wasn't real, but he kicked Marty Jannetty through that window.
Yeah, that is true.
Mm-hmm. He really did that.
Yeah.
Well, but also once you realize it's fake, it didn't really hurt your enjoyment. I still was excited to watch every match.
I liked it much more once I knew it was fake.
Right.
Yeah, I'm a very old man. I watch it hours a week. I watch it. Yeah. Because it's awesome.
So anyway, I did tell you I have a friend now who's an announcer for Impact Wrestling and Border City Wrestling, right?
I think you did mention this, yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I mentioned because he was roommates with Cat Power.
That's right.
Yeah.
Cat Power.
Anyway.
One of my favorite guests ever on the LCS Hockey Show who refuses to talk to us now.
I've been there, believe it. Anyway. Okay, so this is what we call the twist, kind of a twist. So Ed Gardner offers to pay Demolition Dumphy to throw the match, okay? But then...
Yeah, because he wants the Thing to win because that's his marquee attraction. He can't have the big marquee guy lose right away.
So this is the thing. Well, I got to stop using that expression.
Yeah.
Here is the sitch. Vance Astro...
Stop using that expression as well.
Yeah, please banish that one.
So Vance Astro is listening through the window, I guess. But when I first saw this panel, I thought he was like listening like through like a seal, like a roof. It's kind of an odd panel, right? Like, is that a window? What is that?
Yeah, it's a giant window.
A giant window.
It does look weird, yeah.
It's poorly drawn. Let's put it that way. So Vance Astro hears this. He's like, I simply cannot have a former member of the Fantastic Four go down on opening night. The public likes him too much. So then Vance Astro hears, and at first he's not going to tell the Thing because he's like, if I tell Ben what I just heard, he'll flip and end up quitting again. He can't go on quitting all the time. I better keep my mouth shut. But then the Thing is like, what's wrong with you, kid? So he realizes something's on his mind, right? He's like, Vance. And he's like, well. Then we cut back to inside. And Demolition Dumpy's like, keep your bread, Garner. I still ain't convinced about doing this. But then just at that moment, who walks in but the Thing? So the Thing is like, if what I just heard is true, I'm about to start wrestling right now, using your head as the bell. What's this about you fixing the match? So then Demolition Dumpy's like, all right, Thing, Garner knew you wouldn't go for this. So now that you know, I get to kick your butt all the way back to New York. I just wonder if they could have just cut this whole part out, but whatever. So then, you guys still there?
Yeah, here's my favorite part, though, of the entire book. Because Thing is in the office confronting Gardner. And Garner wants to give the Thing money to maybe, cool things out. And he says, nah, forget it, I'm walking. And then we see Vance Astro standing outside the office on the other side of the window.
Right, exactly.
With his arms folded. Looking like a disappointed father, screaming at the Thing, you walk now, and this will be the third time you quit something in the past 2 months. And he yells it through the window. And then we see the Thing on the other side of the window now, and he's thinking about it. Yeah, I can't. Why didn't Vance just follow him into the office? Why is he standing outside?
Right.
Because then you wouldn't have these two cool panels of them looking through the windows.
Oh, it's rough. And then you want to talk about art?
Awesome.
Look at the next panel of Demolition Dumpy. Like, is his foot like in the Thing's pants? You know what I mean?
Yeah, the perspective there's a little off on the vanishing points, but what can you do?
It's bad.
I mean, you can't redraw the panel. So
yeah, exactly.
Once it's there. There's nothing you can do.
Yep.
So yeah.
And the way it's drawn, when I first read it, I thought they were in the ring, and then the next panel he's walking out of the room. It's like, oh no, I guess that's just the room with black walls.
Yes. Yeah.
But a very well lit floor.
Right. And then, of course, Ed Garner assures the Thing, he's like, I'm not a corrupt, evil man, but my federation just has to work. I was just concerned, that's all. So then we cut to the actual... And by the way, I got to point out, I was really worried that we were not going to see the match, that we'd get a cliffhanger. So I was so grateful. Yeah, we got to get the whole story in one issue, right? Yeah. So then we cut to the actual match, and we see a sold-out, arena. And they announce the Thing, and they announce... so the Thing weighs 500 pounds, and Demolition Dumpy is 396 pounds, which is actually pretty damn heavy.
Yeah. Well, he's way taller than the Thing, too.
Yeah,
he's got a good 1.5 feet on him.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. What's funny? I also got to point out, I believe in the 60s, the Thing was never drawn to be more than average height, from what I remember. Like, I think he was specifically based on Kirby, so I think he was like, 5'7" or something.
Yeah, I always thought he was like an average, but now in more modern era, Michael, like he's enormous though, right?
Right,
they usually draw him like huge. Yeah.
Right, like the Hulk or something. Yeah. But anyway, so they ring the bell, they start wrestling, and the first thing the Thing does is throw Demolition Dumpy against the ropes, but all of a sudden, the wrestling ring looks like it's 50 feet long, right? Kind of ridiculous, but whatever. Artistic license. So then Demolition Dumpy bounces off the titanium cables, and then bounces back and then hits the Thing with a maneuver that would make Captain Kirk jealous, right?
It's a double axe handle.
It's a double axe handle.
There you go.
Come on, Mike, get it together.
No, I don't know all these terms like you guys. Sorry. Yeah. And then the Thing gives him I believe that's called an uppercut, right?
Yeah, that's an uppercut.
There you go. Boof. And then the Thing, what does he do? Leapfrogs over him? I don't even know what he's doing.
Well, he's going to jump and give him the old Finn Balor coup de grace, that two-footed stomp.
Okay. Doesn't quite happen. He ends up landing in the middle of the ring and like it looks like he's smashing through it.
Yeah, he puts a hole right in the ring there.
Right. And then Demolition Dumpy kind of like flips over him and gives him like a chokehold, right?
Yeah.
But then
Sleeper
the thing,
hold. Yeah.
What is it? What's that?
Well, it looks
hold.
like he's going for a sleeper hold. Yeah.
And then the thing grabs him, like flips him over, and then again the ring suddenly looks like it's gigantic because he's like 50 feet away. And then he throws Demolition Dumpy. Demolition Dumpy gets back up, and then they're running towards each other, and they kind of punch each other, crack, coom, and then they both bounce against the cables, and then snap back towards each other and smash into each other, badoom. And then it looks like Demolition Dumpy gets knocked out, and then the announcer comes in, the winner and new champion, The Thing. And it's funny because in a scene that we could have seen drawn by the artist, but God forbid that, we have to explain it in the text. Right. It says, slowly Demolition Dumpy rises and Ben offers his hand, and the UCWF is supplied with its first moment. The crowd cheers wildly as the UCWF is welcomed into the hearts of sports fans across America. Ben Grimm welcomes the cheers into his own heart.
There it is.
All that over a picture that's almost stick figures of them standing in the ring.
Exactly.
Well, there it is. That's the end. I want to point out, though, Michael, during the match, the Thing gets pissed when Dumpy makes a little crack there. He says something like, now, smile for the customers that paid to see the guy they kicked out of the Fantastic Four. Oh, that's a dig, Digging deep.
Cutting him deep.
So the Thing got mad. So, Bob, this wrestling match, this is pretty this could easily have main evented WrestleMania.
In this era, this absolutely could have main evented WrestleMania. This is what Vince loves.
How about those?
As Mike Dell would say, two meaty men slapping meat.
Yeah, two meaty men slapping meat. That's what we like to see, Michael. But what about those that dynamic rope work during the match? The way they throw each other into the ropes. This was dynamite.
Yeah.
I love this. I also want to point out that the letters page for the Thing comic book, it's called Grim Tidings. That's pretty good.
Nice. I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, Grim Tidings.
Did you read the letters?
I did not.
Yeah, I didn't either. I thought you would, but I didn't.
No. So there it is, Thing issue 28. The Thing is now a professional wrestler. This was everything I'd hoped and was so much more. This was awesome. This book was amazing. It's like some sort of a weird fever dream. The Thing starts out as a motorcycle stunt driver, and he ends up a professional wrestler. It's amazing. I love this.
The one thing I'll definitely say is it reminds me how fast moving these 80s stories were, right? Like you said, in the space of one issue, he completely changes careers and becomes like a champion in one issue.
That's right.
It's great.
He's a champion, too.
Yeah.
They gave him a big push.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right now, they had strapped the rocket to him. So, Bob, what do you think here about Thing issue 28? Will you want to read more Thing after this? I certainly do. I
am a little bit intrigued because I want to know where this story goes. Like, it's definitely different than most comics, and so I appreciate that. It's like, nobody else is going from, like you said, from motorcycle team to a wrestling federation, and then I guess having the power broker come in, injecting them with whatever he's doing.
Yeah, I almost picked issue 29. And I think, Bob, you looked ahead as well. And in this issue, Michael, he wrestles another guy, and his name's Gator. And during the match, Gator turns into an actual alligator.
Whoa, that's a surprise.
Yeah. So, in the middle of the match, Thing is now wrestling an alligator. He leaves the arena with the alligator, drives him to the swamp, drops him off in the swamp, returns to the ring, and is declared the victor.
I feel like there definitely should have been a double count out there.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Clearly a 10 count. But no, he goes out and he comes back. So this book just seems batshit crazy.
Yeah, unfortunately, while I was reading ahead, I'm quite sure I saw the Beyonder in his stupid perm, and that turned me off.
Secret Wars 2. Yeah, and
Yikes.
Beyonder's back with a perm. Bob, is there anything we missed in this issue? How'd you feel about the art there, Ron Wilson? Now, Ron Wilson did the breakdowns, And usually when they make that distinction, he was just doing the layouts, and then Brett Breeding did the finishes and the inking. So,
yeah.
Yeah, most of the panels I didn't think were that great. Some of it, like a bit of the motorcycle stuff and some of the actual wrestling, like that's cool. There's some cool dynamic stuff in there, but for the most part, it was pretty boring and just very, very. I guess boilerplate you could call it. It's very standard comic book fare.
Yeah, I would say it is pretty. Nothing extraordinary here going on with the art. I like the way Wilson draws the Thing. I
mean the Thing looks good. I'll give him that.
He really gives him that pronounced brow.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like that brow hangs a couple inches off his face in some shots.
Yeah, it's quite the overhang there. Michael, how'd you feel about it?
I think the art was pretty terrible, to be honest. Like, I think Ron Wilson is a good artist, but clearly, like not only did he only do breakdowns, but this was a rush job. I think, like we pointed out a few very confusing panels, including the double bed. Were they sleeping together? Were they not? And then like the fact that Bob, you thought they were in a wrestling ring, and then like the window thing. Like there's just a lot of really rushed panels, I think, and so I think the art is bad. But go ahead.
Yeah, there are almost no backgrounds in this whole book.
Right.
Definitely rushed.
There's an awesome panel though of Vance Astro standing outside a window, looking disappointed in the Thing. That is so great. I love it so much.
That's one thing I love about 80s comics is because like this kind of pandemonium craziness could never happen in a modern comic. They take themselves too seriously.
Like the writing here is ridiculous, but it's ridiculously awesome.
It's definitely fun. I'll give you that.
So yeah, I'm a big fan of this actually. Anything else you'd like to mention, Michael?
Only that it's fun enough that I would want to read more. Definitely fun.
Yeah, I hear. So I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. That's what I'm saying right there. 7 out of 10. It's very. I enjoyed this quite a bit. Bob, what do you think?
I'm somewhere between a 5 and a 6. Like it's bad, but it's fun bad.
So, yeah, definitely. This is a 7 on like a terrible book scale, but
if you go in knowing that this is bad, but it's entertaining bad, then that's where it's at.
Yep, Michael.
Yeah, I'll give it a 5.5 because it is very average, but it's also very entertaining. So I'll give it that extra half, point.
I had to give it the extra 1.5 because of that Vance Astro standing outside the window.
Okay.
That is one of my favorite panels ever. It's so great. So Bob, what else is going on? Bob, have you been reading any other comic books?
This week after seeing Doctor Strange, I jumped right back into Doctor Strange. I've been wanting to do it, and that was the spark that got me back in. So.
If memory serves, didn't you pick the Doctor Strange issue we did here on the show with Frank Bruner as the artist?
Yeah, I'm a big Doctor Strange fan, so I'd taken a little break for a while, but jumped back in basically right after Steve Englehart left the book. That's where I picked back up again because I assume Mike L's seen it, but Mike Dell doesn't leave the house. But
I don't.
That new Doctor Strange movie, it's pretty great.
It's pretty. Yeah, it's definitely something different. I like Sam Raimi, so.
It's Sam Raimi doing Doctor Strange. It's
right.
It's not for everybody, but it was for me, and I loved it.
Right, like he brought in all of his horror and comedy and fast-paced shooting and editing and all that stuff. Good fun.
Yeah, I mean we don't want to give spoilers or anything, but
no.
Does Alf show up?
Close.
I can't comment on that.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like that. That's a multiverse I want to be a part of.
For sure.
All right, well, Bob, thank you very much for joining us again for the Thing. Get you back on here anytime you want. It's always tough scheduling guests because we always got to plan ahead, like a week ahead, and then I'm very forgetful and lazy. So I always forget to book a guest. But just let me know anytime you want to come on, and we'll work it out, Bob.
I'm generally pretty open, so.
I also got to point out, Bob, this is your 9th appearance, so the next one's going to be appearance number 10.
Yeah, got to get me back.
Big one, yeah.
Yeah, all right. I know I did mention Brother Voodoo, right, Bob? And I seem to recall you liking the Brother Voodoo.
Oh, yeah, I would definitely be down to come read some Brother Voodoo.
All right, we'll bring you on for Brother Voodoo whenever we do that. Should be coming up soon. So.
All right.
All right, Mike L. Now this is the part of the show I dread.
That's because you got no heart. Next week, to commemorate the untimely death of an industry legend, George Perez.
Oh, I thought you were going a different direction with that.
Nope. We're going to review one of my favorite comics illustrated by George Perez, and that's History of the DC Universe, Book 2. Yeah!
Hey, Bob, you want to do the show next week instead of me? Just come on in.
How many pages is this one, Michael?
This one's larger than average. Definitely larger than average. And also have you know, it's not a normal comic book. It is text and illustrations.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm busy next week, guys.
This is what we call a wild card, folks. This is going to be something different, okay?
Sure.
Very different.
Michael, I thought that we also recently lost Neil Adams, right?
Yes, we did. Well, maybe we'll slot him in a different week, but you're also welcome to pick one, a Neil Adams book if you want.
Yeah, that's where I thought you were going when you gave us that intro. But, all right, so what's this called again? The History of the DC
History
Universe?
of the DC Universe, Book 2.
When did this come out?
This came out in 1986 or 7.
Post-crisis.
86, yep, post-crisis. This is the definitive history of the DC Universe that was altered
yeah, I was going to say,
later. Anyway.
Which definitive history?
Yeah, exactly. It's been altered 6 times since then.
This is a book. This
yeah,
is not
so
a
these
comic
histories
book.
they're
This
giving,
is
are
a
these
book.
post-crisis histories? Like, is this the actual book that revamped everything?
No, it's a summary of the revamps that had already kind of been established.
Okay.
Like within months of when they were written, so it's still a little bit vague. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Well, really looking forward to this one.
Oh
Thanks,
yeah, trust me, you won't regret it. Anyway. All right, so yeah, we want to thank Bob for joining us, and you can hear every episode of Flea Market Fantasy at www.comicbooksyndicate.com. Each week we review a different Bronze Age comic that's 1970s, 1980s comics. 1 week I pick, 1 week Mike Dell picks. Sometimes our guests pick if Mike Dell lets them. But yeah, be sure to join us every week, and until next Tuesday, disperse!